The lawyer is dead. How's this going? The lawyer is dead. There you go. The End of Lawyers. Has anyone heard of this book by Richard Susskind? The End of Lawyers? This was written by Richard Susskind quite knowingly at the end of 2007. You'll remember the end of 2007. Things started going a little bit bad. And what he says in this, he didn't know about the recession and what was about to happen in 2008. But what he says in this book is that lawyers have got a tough, tough challenge ahead of them. The End of Lawyers. He says that we're threatened by two things. First of all is technology, and communication technology in particular. How people communicate with one another, how we access information. The second threat that lawyers face, us lawyers, is this thing called commoditization, the packaging up of services and offering them out there as an identifiable package in new, innovative ways that lawyers at the moment just aren't up to speed with in meeting that demand. It's a well-written book. I recommend it to all of my colleagues to read. Very few of them do, for a couple of reasons. I think fear is one of them. We can, of course, choose to ignore the risk. We can choose to ignore or pretend that what we can see is coming or might be coming isn't going to happen. We can bury our head in the sand as lawyers, as a profession. The other thing that happens sometimes is people will engage in the debate. Well, perhaps these things are happening. Perhaps these changes are afoot. But let me read you a brief excerpt from what Richard Susskind says, as early as page 2. I'm often amused and bemused when, after presenting to a group of lawyers, I'm approached by a small number who purport to be in violent agreement with what I have said. Such lawyers will say that they accept a shake-up in the legal profession is long overdue, and that my ideas about the transformation of legal services apply across the board, except for one vital area of legal practice, their own. And that's very often the reception that I receive when I speak to lawyers about this. Well, yes, I can see how that might apply maybe in conveyancing, or I can see how that might apply in other areas, but of course it couldn't happen to me. It wouldn't happen to me. People need that one-on-one service, that fully bespoke service, that hand-holding. Well, they might do, but there are going to be any other number of options out there. The other response is this, the closed fortress, I call it. Now, I take this from conversations I had with a large law firm here in the Southwest, regional player, and I was asking them how they're going to respond to the changing legal market. We've got changing regulations and the like. And their response was, we're going to get bigger. We're going to get bigger, we're going to tough it out, rough it out, and we're going to survive it. Which I thought was interesting, if not particularly innovative. It struck me that it's just about being bigger, stronger, harder. It's becoming that fortress, that closed fortress. We're going to be all right, we're going to survive this. We might find ourselves under siege by the winds of change, but we're going to survive and we'll come out the other side. That response disappointed me, really, because what it said to me was that this was a conservative response. It said to me that it was an inward-looking reaction to the changing market. How are we going to be all right? How are our partners going to be okay? How are we going to keep those jobs? How are we going to keep the hourly billing regime? So on and so forth. So it's inward-looking. What it isn't, is it isn't out there in the marketplace, listening to the people in the marketplace about what they want. How do they want to access legal services, professional services?